There we go. Good evening to all our Diamond Girls Rock podcast listeners out there. Thank you once again for joining in, for listening. This week we have the beautiful, gorgeous, exciting lady full of life, very tenacious young lady, Danielle. Good evening, Danielle. How are you this evening?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming and thank you for asking. Danielle is the author of the Female Minority Report. It's her first book. She also has a podcast, listeners, and she also has Sisters Talk LLC. Danielle, your hands are full. You're juggling life and so many other things. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you are able to balance it all.
Oh, such great question to start out. I was in 2020 juggling a lot. This year has been very rocky for myself. I'm sure it has been for many, many people around the world. And from transitioning out of one industry into another, also balancing out my personal side business, which is Sisters Talk LLC, finding out where I fit, trying to figure out where my niche is, and also just adapting to COVID and the new restrictions for this year has been a lot. But for those people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, juggling so many different things, balancing out life all at once, I say stay encouraged. I was successfully migrated out of oil and gas, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, into the life health insurance industry, and also dipping and dabbing into some financial resources that, I am opening up a window of opportunity for myself, my family and friends that I never even knew existed. So, when one door closes, another one opens. And
Yes.
I'm so grateful that I have had this downtime so that I can successfully get back to me, get a chance to understand a new craft and a different dimension of myself. And, not limiting myself to what other people view me as. I think that was the most important takeaway for me this year is just redefining self, getting back to the original person that I know that I am without all the stress and without the pressure. And how I balance is just by knowing that I can't do everything in one day and I can't do it all at once. Just taking my time and strategizing, making a plan, testing that plan. Some things work, some things may not. I've tried selling skincare products. It was extremely successful. Now, I haven't picked that back up yet. I plan on launching a new brand in 2021. I just needed to test it out. I needed to get an idea of how my clients would respond or if I would even have any customers that would be interested in the product. And it was a hit. So, I feel like my best advice in that regard, in terms of people trying to balance things, is test your ideas. It's okay to test it and then find out what works for you. And don't be misguided or put into a box by what other people think you should be doing. It kind of goes back to that again. Just make sure you know what you're doing makes sense to you. You have enough time to do it. And is it making you profit?
That's right. So I agree with you. You're telling our listeners that they have to go after their own passion, chase their own dreams, and what sets give them fuel to run
Yes.
the race. Yes, to make the money. What made you open your business? Tell us the reason. What made you open your business?
So Sisters Talk LLC became an actual business in June of 2019. Praise God.
Yes.
And I was highly influenced to create this business based on my late cousin. She passed away this year, September 18th, 2020.
Sorry for your
Thank
loss.
you. Due to some complications with Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer and some of the medications that were administered, it was unfortunate for myself, unfortunate for a lot of my close family members, but her story inspired me significantly. We had a moment where her and I went to Las Vegas. It was September of 2018. And we sat and we talked I think we were at the SLS Hotel. For those people who go to Las Vegas a lot, is literally right across the street from the Stratosphere, right at the very edge or the end of the strip.
Hmm.
And so we were having lunch that day, and she started tearing up on me, and I was just trying to keep her in a very happy mood, and wanted to keep her busy so she wouldn't think about the things that she was going through. But life hits you, when you least expect it. And she told me, you know what, I don't think I have anywhere from 3 to 5 years left, with
Mhm.
this rigorous fight. She had been battling at that time cancer for 6 years. And
Wow,
so
that's a long time.
yes, she was a fighter. And it's so bittersweet to even talk about it. Her and I grew up as little children together. And when she said that to me, it's something in me said, you know what, you can't give up yet. You can't make those accusations because we don't have the final say. And so I told her, I said, I think that all you really need is a platform for your voice to be heard. At that time and years prior to that conversation that her and I had, she was battling a divorce while battling cancer, raising her 3 children. It was a lot. And I felt
Hmm.
like, you know what, you're probably not the only woman going through this. We need to create a platform where you can get this off of your chest, get all of these bad experience, air it out and get it all out of your system. Sometimes I think, and I'm not a medical doctor for those people that are watching this show, but I do seriously believe that stress is a number one factor of a lot of triggers
Yes,
to some of our internal illnesses. And
most
so
definitely.
I was thinking to myself, if you can just talk about this almost like a vid session, almost like a counseling therapeutic way of just healing your spirit, healing your energy, for those people who are
Hmm.
spiritual, less religious, just healing you and getting back to you, I thought that that would help her significantly. And so that's what started the journey with Sisters Talk LLC. And my slogan is we're removing the stigma of counseling in our communities. We want people to be okay to talk about the issues that they're going through and to stop thinking that you're the only one going through something. We're all battling something. I think 2020 is a testimony to that.
Yes, 2020 has shown that everybody, we all battled COVID and Corona together.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm so sorry to hear about your cousin. It sounded like she was a fighter for 6 years, but out of that fight, she birthed something.
Yes,
Out of that fight,
absolutely.
she birthed something. And that says something for her on her behalf right there. She birthed something out of her fight, out of what she
Yes.
got, something was birthed out of that.
September 18th made 8 years she fought the battle. And I'm
8 years.
extremely proud of her. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
wow. Well, you have to keep look, that legacy going. You have to keep her
absolutely.
dream going. How long have you worked in the field of writing? How long have you been an author?
So that's interesting. I became a first time author, guys, September 26th, 2020. Let me zoom
All
in a little bit.
right.
I'm proud of my baby.
Yes, yes. The
Yes,
Female
yes,
Minority Report. Tell us a
yeah.
little something about your book.
Oh, there's so many different facets to this book. It's kind of, I don't want to give it away. It seems very, just by the look of it, very harsh, very wow, just direct. And it's some of those things as well, but it's definitely inspired from my experiences that I had in corporate America as an African American woman. And, I have multiple degrees. One is physics, that's my undergrad degree. I have a
Okay.
master's in aeronautical science with a concentration in space studies, and I have my MBA with a concentration in global management. So I have a lot of schooling behind me because growing up, that's what you're taught to do. It's like you need to go get through high school, graduate, go to college. They don't even give you a chance to think about
Yes.
like what you want to do, who you want to be. Maybe you don't want to go to college. That wasn't an option for me. So when I started college and graduated the first time, I landed a job here in Houston, and I didn't look back since. And I went into oil and gas, and I started out as a junior geophysicist, and it was the coolest job ever. And I got promoted, and I said, you know what? I don't know if this is the right job for me. Let me go back to school. I think I want to try NASA. But by the time I graduated with my second degree, which is my master's degree in aeronautical science, that's during the time that Obama was the president and he canceled the Constellation program. So I wasn't able to live out my dreams in that sense. So I said, well, I guess I'll stay, but I'll go back one more time. And this time I'll get my MBA because I felt like
Hmm.
I should have gotten my business degree. And that's my advice to young people that are growing up. get a business degree or a finance degree or something in business finance or something, so that way you understand how business operates, you understand money. You know, you need to understand this, because a lot of us, what I'm noticing, especially in my age group, and I'm a millennial, we don't understand how to make our money work for us. So we could be making six figures, but we're living like we're making only $20,000.
And
Because
that's something right there. I'm sorry to interject. Excuse me. You just said something. You're a millennial. You can make six figures, but be living like you're making 20,000. How is that when you're making six figures?
here's the thing. So from what my own experience, I'm going to tell you out of the gate, guys, when I was in my early 20s, I was blowing money. I was blowing it like it was a waterfall. And I mean, just like you see it on the videos, I was making it rain at the restaurants. I was making it rain on trips. I was making it rain in the clubs. I'm not afraid to say or ashamed, because you have to go through these stages in life to understand where you want to be. Because if you never had those experiences, it's going to be new to you. You're going to make mistakes, but it's you learning from those mistakes that kind of help curve that narrative and bring you right back around to the successful path that you're supposed to be on. So my advice to those people, because I know there's a lot of them still out there, you want to get your red bottoms. You want to have the nice Gucci person. Look, I'm not mad at you, girl. Do your thing. But at the same time, make sure that you know about these accounts where you can put your money besides your savings account that's going to grow compounded interest, so that when you look up the next 10 to 15 years, you're going to have a nice little chunk of change that you can borrow against tax-free. That's a gem for you guys. And I'll just leave it there. If you want to know more advice, reach out to me. I got you.
So now, how can some of our listeners reach out to you?
Okay, so there's multiple different ways. If you guys, I do Sisters Talk podcast as well, like much like yours. What we do is we highlight someone that we find very interesting, who has a small business or is an author, and they want to just share their information with the community, and we interview them. So if people want an interview just to be highlighted and recognized, you guys can email me at sistas, SISTAS, CWT@gmail.com. If you want to know a little bit more information about Female Minority Report, how did I write it? How did I publish my book? Because a lot of people are trying to publish books now. You can reach out to me at my email. I'll be happy to help at F as in Frank, minority R @gmail.com. Or, you could just go to the page. I mean, I have a Facebook page as well. It's literally typed Female Minority Report on the Facebook page. You'll know it because you'll see this Black girl with this afro on Facebook.
The Black girl with the afro. So tell me, Danielle, your biggest accomplishment. What can you say? I know you're young, you're a millennial. What has been your biggest accomplishment? Because you have 3 degrees. So look, we hardly see an African-American female with a degree in physics. So what is your biggest accomplishment?
Honestly, it has nothing to do with school. It's my family, the family that I created. I never saw myself getting married, and I was married in 2017. Thank you. And my children, honestly, are my biggest accomplishments so far. When I sit back and watch them and I look at them grow and learn the smallest one learning how to talk and wanting to learn to read, and picking up on some of my habits, on some of her father's habits, it's just amazing to watch that. And I feel overly blessed to have that opportunity to witness that. So that's my biggest accomplishment.
See, someone would think it's all the money that you made with your job. Someone would think it was one of your degrees. But you said your family, something that you started. You said you never saw yourself getting married. Why did you never? Because a lot of young women out there may not see themselves as getting married. Tell us, our listeners, the Diamond Girls, why you didn't see yourself as being a wife.
Okay, Diamond Girls, listen up, because this is real. Before I met my husband, I kind of went on this binge of, you know what, I'm all right. I'll just be single, until my oldest, the only daughter at the time that I had, until she graduates high school and goes to college. And the reason why I said that is because every guy that I dated ended up not being the guy that I thought I was dating. So I know a lot of people can attest to that.
Yes.
So dating was very difficult. And then you add in the factor of being a single parent. For me at the time, I was very protective over my daughter. I was not a woman who just didn't care. Let me just go drop her off and do this, whatever. I did that sometimes, but 90% of that time I was with my own child. So it made it hard for me to date when I didn't even want to separate from my child. So that was one of the hardest factors for me. And also not being in a city where I had that family support. And the moment that I changed my mindset and said, you know what, I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to learn to be happy by myself, because being a single parent is not easy if you're
No,
doing it
it's
the
not.
right way. There's going to be a lot of times where you get lonely. There's going to be a lot of times where you're asking yourself, why isn't this working out with the person you think it should work out for? And one thing I learned with dating in another city, like again, it was solely on me. I learned that I thank God for all the no's and I thank God for all the relationships that didn't work out, because if they had worked out, I wouldn't have met my husband.
Right.
So when I changed my mindset and said, I'm going to focus on me, I'm going to focus on making myself and my daughter happy. I'm going to focus on getting healthy, like working out, eating better, having better habits in general. Stop going to the club so much, because you're not going to find anyone there of substance. That may not necessarily be true for those who have found love there, but majority cases, you don't find anybody that's actually looking for longevity. So when I changed my mindset in that regard and I stopped looking, my husband found me.
Right. Look at
So you
there.
be surprised. We met, I was on a girls trip and we went to Jamaica, and I almost didn't go. And my girlfriend it was her birthday party. And I was like, you know what? I can't miss her birthday. I'm going to go. Because I kind of had set up this trend where every year I would go wherever she wanted to fly, we would go for her birthday. So I was like, all right, let me scrape up these pennies. Because again, that was during the time where look, y'all, I was making it rain. So I was like, let me scrape up my pennies so I can go to Jamaica. I think that would be cool. So I've never been there, never even thought about it.
Right.
We go. I don't want to say day 2 that we were there, we were deciding which excursion we wanted to take. And so we decided to do horseback riding. And so we went to this place called Chukka, and it's Chukka for those who want to go have a good time. They have horseback riding, zip lining. You can ride the horses in the ocean, everything. And that's what kind of caught my attention. So we go, and this guy asked me where my clothes were, because I wore a swimsuit since I knew that we were going to ride the horses inside the ocean. I'm like, well, I don't need clothes for this. It's Jamaica. It was hot, And this was in December, by the way. This is like December 19th. And so he's laughing and cracking up. And I'm like, who's this dude? I'm not even knowing that he's Jamaican. He looked American, if that made any sense. But I didn't, because he didn't have like dreads or anything like this. So I was like, I know somebody saying she's so ignorant, but you know what I mean. He didn't have the characteristics. So I thought he was just a regular American guy that just happened to work there, and he was making fun of me. Well, later on that day, after we did the excursions and everything was done, he asked for my number and he asked me out for ice cream. And I'm like, what guy asked a girl out for ice cream?
Ice cream. That was
the
cute.
Thing.
Yeah. That's a cute first date. Ice cream. And the rest was history. See, look at there. Beautiful story. I like it. What unique skill you think you possess to maintain everything?
Oh, well, my ability to multitask and keep a positive outlook on life. I really do think that.
That's good.
A lot of us get slammed with a lot of different obstacles, a lot of different stresses in your everyday life. And it's not that I look over them. It's just that I look at, you know what, I'm grateful to even have to endure this, because I know I'm going to live to see another day. I pray to make things better if I'm having a bad day.
Okay. Who inspires you?
I would have to say my grandparents. They passed on, but they had an intricate part in raising me and just laying so many gems, extremely profound foundation for me. And, back in the day, grandparents didn't play.
No, they didn't.
My grandfather was a unique kind of person, let me tell you. And it was certain things that he would just drill in me every day. And one of those things was making sure that I obtained my education so that nobody could take away what's inside of here. And so I think people forget about that. A lot of young ladies forget that knowledge really is power. And the more you know, you don't have to go to universities to obtain this knowledge. You can be self-taught, but you need to have that motivation to get the knowledge that you need to be successful. But you have to lay out a plan. You can't just go through life, just seamlessly just doing whatever lands in your lap. Yeah, you have to have a concept of where you would like to be. The universe is going to move in your direction, but you have to have a path laid out first.
Great, great. What would you say to some woman that's listening that want to become an entrepreneur like yourself? What would you say to her?
I would say, figure out what it is that you want to sell. What are you packaging? Is it you want to be a public speaker? If so, then what talents do you have where you can create a master class where you can actually get paid high dollar value? Or think about what products it is that you would like to sell. Maybe you're a fashion designer. Maybe you're really good at making jewelry. Maybe you want to sell clothes, purses. I don't know. There's so many things going on now. People are selling lotions, face creams, beard oil. I mean, the list just goes on. So lip gloss, maybe fingernail polish. Oh yeah, actually people are selling their own fingernail polish too. So it's like there's so many resources at our fingertips now where we can just Google search things on our cell phones. Set out a plan, get a business plan going after you find out what it is that you want to do, even if it's services, and also get a mentor. Get a mentor and talk to someone who's already successful and doing some of these things. It doesn't have to be exactly what you're going to do, but they're successful in a way that they're generating income. They've either maybe made mistakes and failed, and they know what not to do in the future, and they can give you those tidbits of information so that you don't make those same mistakes. And whatever you do, never give up, because you're not going to always have good days. I mean, you may have a top selling product and maybe day 3, you make 0 sales, but that doesn't mean that what you have isn't great. It just means that day, no one saw the ad, or that day, no one needed the product. There wasn't a need for it in that moment, but that doesn't mean that you stop there. You just keep going.
Yes. And in business, I've learned over the 22 years, every day is not going to be a good day. Business is ups and downs. Sometimes it's a flat line and you got to put the pulse back in it and make it beat again. So yes, you got to be innovative. Yes. How can our listeners, if they want to get your book, how can they get your book? How can our listeners get your book?
So they can go on Amazon.com. I have this book in both Kindle edition as well as paperback, as you see. And just go on Amazon, type in the search engine, Female Minority Report, and it will pop right up.
Now, do you go out and do any public speaking if someone wanted to invite you after COVID?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So if they go to www.femaleminorityreport.com, there's actually a place on the website where they can click it and they can book me for a public session. So I just went back home to Dallas. I want to say this was November 28th. And I literally sold out of every book that I had with me. And I didn't necessarily, thank you. I didn't necessarily do public speaking that time, but it was more so just interaction and catching up with everyone, that stopped by. And thank you, Dallas, so much for showing me so much love. It was raining that day. It was cold and people still came out in numbers. So I really appreciate that support.
That's good. That's good. Now, can you offer the book via Zoom until people get out? Can you do a Zoom session for those who would like to have you if they're...
Yes, I would love to do Zoom sessions about my book. That's something I've been thinking about. So if anyone is interested and would like for me to do so, please reach out to me. Again, you can email me at fminorityr@gmail.com.
All right. All right. Anything you'd like to inspire another woman today that may be listening that needs some inspiration to open her own business, just need a little pat on the back. What would you say to her, Danielle, before we close?
Yes, seriously, with everything that's gone on this year, I know it's been tough, but let me tell you something. I hope and pray that you use this time to seek that knowledge that I was talking about earlier. Study things that you don't know about. If it's that you want to learn to start investing or you want to learn how to grow your money, start looking up these accounts because that information is out there. They're not going to tell you about it. They meaning people who do this every day for business, but it's going to be up to you to just type in the question, how do I grow my money? Besides a savings account, for instance. And so what things that people don't know are the very things that keeps us at the level that we're at. And so I would just say this, start finding ways to grow your money, start finding ways to invest. So that way you don't have to take out these business loans. If you have to, it's fine. But that's one less financial stress that you have to worry about. Also, if you do have to take out business loans to get your business kickstarted, because sometimes we have to do what we have to do, just make sure that you understand the importance of credit, making sure that your credit score is exactly where it needs to be. And also to make sure when you take that loan out, that you're able to pay the loan back within the given duration that the bank gives you. So don't take out a loan and they're only giving you 12 months to pay it back with whatever X number of interest rate that they tack on to that. Because if you're not making the sales that you expect within month one, you need to be worried. You see?
Yeah.
So don't start blowing the money on other things when you know you have an obligation to pay that loan back. So let's see, I have much more. I just don't want to leave anything out. Make sure also that you link up and network with other women who are really good at marketing and networking. Because when you have your business going, the key motivator and fueler behind your sales will be the way you market. Because marketing is going to be that driving force that's going to drive your sales up. If you have images that don't reflect your product or service that you have, and the consumer can't connect the two, the imagery versus the product and the service, and they don't understand your message, it's less likely they're going to even pay attention to you. So you need to make sure that you have a team of people, and hopefully you can find people who will do these services for you for free, or if not, they will give you a discounted price knowing that you're a first-time entrepreneur, first-time business owner. There's so many programs out there for that. Also, you have interns. When if you can utilize the college interns, they need credit on their resumes to say that, hey, I've done marketing for company X, company B, or whatever. So utilize the resources that you have. Think about things like a real CEO or a real business person to say, hey, I need marketing. I need a business plan. I need to be able to have access to a business loan. So what do I need? I need grant writing. What do I need? And just collect the people based on the resources that you need, find out what their prices are, and if they're within budget, hit the floor running. But no, it's a possibility you may fail, and you have to be okay with that.
You know what? You have just given a wealth of knowledge right there. Look, knowledge is power. And we thank you. You just gave some woman some power, her power back to move a little further, to take a step closer to her dream. So thank you, Danielle. Is there anything else you would like to tell our listeners before we leave?
Just keep your faith, stay strong. In 2021, here we come. That's all I have to say.
Yes, 2021, here we come. Well, Danielle, I want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. I hope
Thank
that the
you. Same to
holiday
you.
season bring you joy, happiness, peace, and love, and comfort you and your family during this time. Um, we want to thank you once again. We want all the listeners out there to the Diamond Girl Rock podcast, all of you to go out there and support this young lady. We want you to go to her website. We want you to send her emails. And most of all, we want you to go on Amazon and purchase a copy of her book. Once again, she's the author of The Female Minority Report. Once again, go to Amazon, pick up this book. You can get it on Kindle or you can buy it. Once again, you can have the hard copy, excuse me. She's the author of The Female Minority Report. She's a diamond girl. She's a gem, and we appreciate her taking time out her
Thank you.
schedule. And we
Thank
look
you so much
forward.
for having me.
You are welcome. We look forward to having you back
Yes.
because I
I look
believe
forward to it.
great
Thank
things are going to happen next year for you.
Yes, yes, yes. And also, one last thing, I almost forgot. Had the honor of doing a TED Talk, guys. Make sure you check it out. Just go to the TEDx Talk on YouTube. It's called Navigating the Glass Cliff. And ooh, I am dropping some real gems. All transparency there.
Okay, you heard it. Say it one more time so they can go there, the TED Talk.
Yes. Go to TEDx Talk on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. And also, the name of my talk is called Navigating the Glass Cliff. Danielle McGo.
Navigating the Glass Cliff. So we're going to support her there. We're going to listen to that on YouTube. Once again, this is Pat Pearson, your host of the Diamond Girls Rock podcast, and I wish you a happy Christmas. Excuse me. I bid you a Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year.